Welcome into part 2 of episode 36 of the Educational Duct Tape podcast. This is episode number 13B of season 2. The B is for bonus because you get a bonus dose of Manny Curiel. In this dose, you'll hear why we think teachers should record video lessons, our favorite tools to use for it, how to formatively assess content from videos, and we'll talk about tools like EdPuzzle, Screencastify, Flipgrid, and WeVideo. Let's get started.
Hey y'all, I'm Casey Bell from the Shake Up Learning Show, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to the Educational Duct Tape Podcast with Jake Miller.
Hello, Duct Tapers! This week, in lieu of our normal mini episode, I've got the second half of my really long conversation with Manny Curiel. If you haven't listened to last week's episode, the first half of our conversation, I really recommend going back to listen. Not only was there lots of awesome content and some good laughs, but there was also a gymongous giveaway. And yes, gymongous is a word. I looked it up before I started recording. Not really. Before we dive in, though, 2 quick notes. Number 1, since this episode is a half hour long, I'll be offering certificates of listening, laughing, and learning for it. I normally don't for the mini episodes because they're like 10 to 20 minutes long, but this one's a full half hour, so I will offer one of those. So after you listen, head over to eduducttape.com/certificate to claim your certificate in hopes of getting some PD credit for your time. You'll just need the new super secret word that I mention later in the episode. Note number 2, this is for those of you in Ohio or surrounding areas. We were scheduled to have a full-day Flipgrid workshop at Kent State University last Friday, but Ohio weather got in the way of that, so it has been rescheduled for Monday, February 24th. A few of the original attendees can't make that date, so Kent State has opened up a few additional slots. If you're interested, click the link in the show notes ASAP before those spots fill up. Okay, that's it. Let's get to the rest of my chat with Manny.
Today's guest.
But we have one more thing to talk about giving away, Manny.
Oh my gosh, yes. And this is my ultimate favorite app. I love this app.
Okay, so ask me a question, and then we'll talk about the app, and then we'll talk about the other thing you're giving away. Manny is like, everybody's going to be like, have Manny on the show every episode.
I'm like, oh, fire. Like, let's do this. So why should teachers record their own lessons, and what tools can they use for it?
So my thoughts on why they should record lessons, why teachers should record lessons, is UDL. I've been kind of geeking out on UDL lately, which is Universal Design for Learning, which in a nutshell, this is not like textbook definition here. This is my definition, means that you're designing your learning in a way that it's universally accessible by all students of all ability levels. And if you start recording video, that means they could slow it down, they could speed it up, they could pause to process, they could watch them at home, they could watch with the teacher, they could watch it twice, they could watch it 3 times, they could watch it with closed captioning on, they could do all of these different things that when you're just lecturing in front of your class is not universal. Like a classroom lecture is not universal design for learning, but a video brings in a lot of possibilities that just aren't there. You know, in a face-to-face situation. It allows the students to access the information however works best for them. And then it frees up the teacher to support the kids. You know what I mean? Like in person, while the other kids are watching the video, now I can go help that one kid that needed that support from me, you know?
Right. It's like you cut yourself in pieces and you're with everybody.
Yep, exactly. And so tools to use for it. I want to give, I love WeVideo, first of all. I use Camtasia for the videos that I make because I have access to it and I have a Mac that I could use it on. And it's my, it's my favorite tool, but I do love WeVideo as well. A couple other tool shout outs for the green screen question we were talking about. If you're on an iPad, green screen? If you're,
oh my, wait.
Green screen? For the green screen question, if you're on an iPad and you don't have access to WeVideo, DoInk is a pretty great app on there too. The problem with DoInk is it doesn't have all these features that we just talked about with WeVideo, with the screencasting, with the library of all of that royalty-free stuff, with the collaboration, with the ability to turn things in directly from in there. But that's a nice kind of backup for green screen. I love Screencastify for taking video. But one tool that I'm really kind of geeking out now for teachers to use is to use the Shorts camera in Flipgrid, which allows them to record from right there. Now, they can't screencast with it, but they can show images and things like that, or they can write on the screen. They can show their face on the screen. They can explain things, and then it's already kind of hosted through Flipgrid to be able to send it out there. So that's what I think. That's a tool that I'm really enjoying using for it. But I like that teachers have a lot of options for it now.
Well, Flipgrid is when you record, you can have it in sections, and then you can move them around. Yep. And you have filters, and you can put a whiteboard or a blackboard or stickers. It's like, yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. And I should, because I'm a board member. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Exactly. Okay, so Manny, why do you think teachers should record their lessons?
Okay, so I have my little 2 cents about that. But now that you're saying it about watching it over again, I remember, well, I'm a foreigner, obviously. I got here when I was 20.
Okay.
And I didn't really speak the language.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of words that I listen and I'm like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one of the first meetings in my new job, and my boss, she loves to say caveat. And I'm like, I stopped listening. I'm like, what in the world is a caveat? And I was just like, and students do the same thing. Like I could pause the lesson, go to Google, what in the world is this mean? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
And then I'll pause and I can watch, because like I just got stuck into something.
Yeah.
So I always tell teachers, record yourself, because if you find yourself saying the same thing over and over and over again, record it. OMG.
Right.
You're going to make that content available 24/7. If you as a teacher or the student is absent, not a problem, because guess what? It'll be there.
Yeah.
Then if the kid doesn't understand it, they don't remember, or they got distracted because they're having some like, oh, my teacher doesn't like me and I don't know and this and that. And they're looking at you like, mm-hmm. And then the teacher's like, I got it. This is an amazing teacher. And I'm like, they did not get it, dude.
They were paying attention.
Exactly. And then you make those lessons available for them, for the future. If they need a refresher, if they're at home and the parent needs to help them out, that's why I don't, homework to me is a touchy subject, because I don't believe in homework, because I get frustrated, the parent gets frustrated, the kid gets frustrated. But if I record a video, the parent can see how is it that I am doing it and help me with that same vocabulary. So that way, the parent is not doing it one way, then I have to have the student, you need to unlearn that and learn it this way. This is just amazing. The parents will be like, Mr. Curiel, I can hear you laughing in my living room, and my child is just having a blast learning.
That does not surprise me at all.
So I'm like, I love it. So yeah, it's just recording the lessons is just the best thing ever.
Yeah.
The teachers get they get pajiggity at it.
Yeah.
And I use that word because it's just, they get all pajiggity. I'm like, dude, you're not going to look crazier than me. Okay. And I think that's why I make him so out there. So they see that I have no shame and just do it, because it's not for you. Right. It's for the kid.
Yeah. I never thought about that when I watch like the videos that you were putting in the show notes, that you're like the risk taking that you're doing by putting your dance moves on film in your video, and by like just doing all the ridiculous stuff you're doing. Like you're showing the kids like look, let's have some fun, man. Let's take some risk. Let's try this out. Like your tie doesn't have to be that tight, right? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And look, English is by all means not my first language. I say ridiculous things just because I mumble, or I just like, wait, what did I say?
Yep.
But I think is, as long as the message gets across and the kid gets it, you did your job. Like that's what we teach in notes. That as long as you get yourself understood, who cares if you're conjugating the verb wrong? When I went to China and I said need to go bathroom, and I say it in the wrong tense, they understand, that I needed the bathroom desperately. They pointed, and I got my point across, and who cares that I said it wrong? Yep. And then you're modeling that for kids, because look, it doesn't have to be a Hollywood production. Just get that goal or that objective across, make your point, and it's good. Because if my videos will be perfect, the teachers will get intimidated, and the students will get intimidated, and they're like, I can't do that. So Yeah, they have to be out there and then make it fun.
Yeah, have some fun with it. And I think there's a place for non-video lecture or lessons, and that's like you've got to think about like what are my goals of this lesson or lecture, and what am I trying to achieve, and does putting it on video make it better for the students? And a lot of times it does, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes like maybe there's a discussion built in, like okay, so then that should be face to face, so that you can have that discussion face to face with the kids, or maybe there's a really cool experiment you're doing in your science class, and it's just like on video, it's cool, but in person, you're like, whoa, look at those flames or whatever in that chemistry experiment. And so like there are times when it should be in person, but when possible, like video brings in a lot of potential that you just can't tap into, in person.
I remember when I recorded, some of my videos that the kids were struggling with what's a heading. OMG, for the life of me, my students will not remember what a heading was.
Mm-hmm.
So I make this video in my living room, and the kids, just because I changed the setting and my dog was barking, everybody remember what a heading was because the setting was different, and they remember that. And I learned that if I make them way out there with different visuals, they will remember the visuals and they'll remember the content.
That's kind of interesting because that reminds me of an episode a while back with Jared Cooney-Horvath, where we talked about how things you learn are tied to where you learned it and what you experienced when you learned it, and what you smelled when you learned it, what you saw when you learned it, and what you're hearing when you learned it, and like all that stuff is a part of it. And so if they're watching in a video that makes them laugh, right, and they're getting enjoyment out of the video, or it seems novel because, hey, he's at home and there's his dog and this is different from what we normally expect, then there's some extra kind of stuff tied to it that's going to help them make it more memorable.
Yes.
Right. Brain science right there.
They remember that.
Yeah, that's interesting. So when we're in person in class and we're teaching, we have some things we could do formative assessment wise to get to know if the kids get it, whether it's on paper or it's verbal or it's a technology based thing. We could do formative assessment when it's an in-person lecture, face to face. But what about when it's video? How do you formatively assess kids when you send them a video? How are you sure they're watching it? How are you sure they're understanding it? What do you use to do that?
Well, first I have to let me tell you about the tools that I use.
Okay.
Because obviously you said WeVideo.
Yeah.
I did have these cool looking, dude. You can record super mini lessons in Flipgrid, and the students will create, a product based on that.
Uh-huh.
You can upload those videos in Classroom or a website or in Forms, so they can have like a create your own story kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the one I use the most when I was a teacher, I will make my video usually. Well, I didn't have WeVideo at that time, so Screencastify, it's my go-to. I love Screencastify. It saves automatically into Google Drive. Love that.
Yep.
And then I can upload it into my ultimate favorite app, which is EdPuzzle. Love me some EdPuzzle. Why? It's just like the best thing ever because I said, you're the teacher. It should be you.
Yep.
If you have a video that you grab from the internet, that's not you.
Right.
It's not your personality. You need to make sure that the content is exactly covered in your tips or the goal that you're looking for. And to find a video like that, OMG, it is way easier just to record it.
Yeah. And, I'm going to put a call out to the duct tapers on this, Manny. I'm sorry to interrupt you on that. But I saw a study at some point in time, and I just can't find it again. But the study showed that students learn more and retain more information if the content is coming from a familiar face and voice. So if they watch a video with their teacher in it, they're going to retain more than if they watch a video with Bill Nye in it. As wonderful as Bill Nye is, like they're going to retain more from their teacher, as long as the teacher explains it as well. Like that of course is the gap there. But I can't for the life of me find this study anymore. So if anybody out there can find that study, please let me know, because like I want to like hang that up on my wall, because that's such a great point, that if you can record the video in your own voice and share your own explanation of it the way your kids need to understand it, that's huge for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Like I need that. I need that pocket papers too, because they tell me, well, I thought this was an awesome video that was already done. I'm like, no. I mean, sometimes, yes.
Right.
That's
Well,
fine.
because of either the content of the video or the time the teacher has. Like if you have the time to do the EdPuzzle and put the questions in, but you don't have the time to make the video, then okay, use that video you found on YouTube with Bill Nye in it or whoever it might be. But if you have the time to record yourself doing it, it's probably going to be better because you know exactly what your kids need. But however, if the video has something that you can't possibly redo, then maybe use that video. So that's the educational duct tape thing, right? It depends on exactly what the goal is that we're trying to do. That's how we choose the tool.
Right. I will go with more if it's already done well enough that you can't recreate it, then use a video that's already done. But my lessons were 3 minutes. Yeah. Like a second grader cannot watch a video that is longer than 3-4 minutes push. It's already pushing it. So I will get at my school around 7, record my video, upload it into EdPuzzle, put the questions, and that was that. And the data that it gives you, it's amazing. Yeah. And that data was what I used to pull my groups. So every day was a different lesson. That's just how it is. You have a different thing. And then that's how it was like my filter. Everybody will go through the EdPuzzles. And then based on that data, that's how I pull my groups. And I will cater my small group instruction based on the needs that the kids that I have in front of them.
Yeah, because you're doing formative assessment through that tool. So you designed your instruction as a video, and then you have the formative assessment built right into that.
Right. So you pull your high group first, just a 2 minute. There's like making sure you got it, push them a little bit, and then send them off. And then you get the next group. And you modify your mini lesson because when you do a whole group, you're doing it to the middle of the class. You will totally miss me because I was a hot mess that didn't speak English. And now you'll miss the high kids. They'll be bored. And then you have behavior and it's a hot mess. Right. When you're doing it this way, you have a personal relationship with the kids that are in front of you because it's 5 kids, 6 kids most. You know they're there because they're on your table. They're not in La La Land.
Right.
So it is like you're meeting their needs. You're bridging the gaps. It's right on it. And it's all based on data. It's not based on your guess or how you feel or is the red group or the yellow group. It's none of that. And the groups will change based on what the kid needs. So if you have a low kid that got it, OMG, you celebrate that and you pull it with your high group and you will do wonders with that kid's self-esteem. I'm telling them like, I understand that. I don't know. Right. I remember this kid and I did that and he was struggling and says, Mr. Curiel, I am tired of failing. Yeah. And he got it. And I'm like, oh my God, he got it. And I pulled it with my high group. He was beyond himself.
That's awesome.
It is so cool, but you have to be monitoring that data. It takes time and skill for you to be doing that, but it is just the best to be based on and concrete facts rather than we know the kids, because when you're a teacher you know your kids, but you don't know what's in their brain. If they're putting the effort to change, you need to acknowledge that, and sometimes it's easier to miss that because you have so many students. But if you have it right black and white with EdPuzzle data, amazing.
Yeah. So in EdPuzzle, you can add, I think, 3 question types. Is that right?
Yeah. Open-ended, multiple choice, and like a little comment. Yeah. Yeah. I will say like, if you forgot about this, watch this video and I will put a link. Or at the end of the video, I was like, okay, you finished this. I need you to go do this. Right. So I will put a comment and a question, or it will be at the end.
Right. And so then there's there's really 2 different types of data that can be assessed. The open-ended questions, which obviously the teacher's going to have to go back and grade all those. And then the multiple choice questions, which auto-grade.
It's true. I mean, you have to go back and grade, but it is so fast. Why? Because
they lay it out in order. Yep.
Yeah, because you don't really need to see the name of the kid because you don't. You know the answer to the question, and it's going to be different every question. So literally, you're going to look at the first row. You read the question, you say yes or no, and it will disappear and it will push to the next question. So it goes very fast. And I will encourage people to do open-ended. Yes, they're not graded automatically, but you have to make them think.
Yeah, and you're going to learn more about their true understanding that way too. Exactly. I always try to do like, if I have 5 or 6 questions in the video or 10 questions, I try to do 1 or 2 open-ended and the rest multiple choice. And I pick those big target things that I really want to assess their thinking on to be my open-ended questions, and the rest I'll use multiple choice to auto-grade them.
Right. It's like sometimes teachers tell me like, oh, my kids are Googling the answers. I'm like, well, it was not a good question then. If you can Google the answer, that don't need you. That is not a good question. Give them a scenario.
Yeah.
And with that, it's easier to do it in an open-ended.
Right. So Manny, because you are like the awesomest guest ever, I shouldn't say that. Other people are going to send me like hate mail now. Maybe hate mail now. But Manny has arranged a second giveaway item, and this is coming from EdPuzzle, which we're not going to pick favorites between EdPuzzle and WeVideo, but we love them both. And so what is EdPuzzle willing to share with the duct tapers out there?
Well, yes, but before I tell you that, I have some new updates of EdPuzzle.
What? I didn't know there were new updates.
I know I have new updates too.
Is this a surprise party for me, Manny? You didn't tell me about that.
It's just I talk to them like, hey, give me something. Whenever I have a problem, I message them or I email them or I text them. I'm like, I need an answer now.
Nice. So what's new? What's the news?
So this came up from a teacher because I teach the EdPuzzle class, and they said, I wish when you have the question and the answer that you can insert an audio file.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, OMG, that is genius. So my loop around was you put an audio box before the question, because when you have kindergartners that can read, you will put an audio box to read the question. But then my solution was, well, put pictures for answers. But what if you need words? So this will be the best solution. So the students will be able to use their voice to respond.
What?
Ain't it cool?
What?
I haven't seen it. It's not out yet. It will be out, they said, in a month or 2.
Oh, man, that sounds so awesome. And that's part of your regular plan, or how's that work?
Yes.
Because I know EdPuzzle is like a freemium, right?
Well, it's not a premium. They charge you for storage, just like WeVideo does, because you have to pay for that. So they charge you for that. You have 20 lessons for free, and this is part of the free. You have 20 lessons that you can do, and this is all the features that you have.
Wow!
So for my content,
and that's going to be part of the free.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So for the language, my department, my LOT department, or elementary kids, ESL, that will be OMG amazing.
Oh yeah, to be able to record themselves doing, like recording, responding with that audio and stuff like that, and like saying the words or whatever it might be. What a great way to assess kids, or reading excerpts. When you need to like test their reading fluency and comprehension and things like that. How huge is that?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. And then another thing is when you join EdPuzzle, it tells you what is your school, and it puts you like in this little group. Like you can see everybody's lessons from your school, but we have 91 campuses in my campus, and sometimes
you guys have a big district.
So some teachers want to collaborate, and I said like, hey, how is it that you don't have something that will be district wide? And now it's going to be a school network where they can all connect through EdPuzzle, and they can see each other's, and they will be able to find curriculum for their grade level.
Wow. That's in a paid plan if you pay as a district? No.
That, as far as I know, they send me, they can connect with multiple schools if they want to collaborate. They enable teachers to quick find curriculum for their grade level subject. The network can organize a centralized library for teachers in the schools and enhance collaboration. So I can create a content, put it in this network, and then all my teachers can pull from that.
Wow, that's great.
That is because you're no longer only assigned to your campus.
Right.
Which is amazing because I have low teachers are teaching the exact same thing and in high school and in middle school because they have Spanish 1 in both. So they need the same thing. Like, why wouldn't be able to collaborate, right?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really cool.
So the school network and the voice question responses, that's what's coming. It's not out yet, but it will be soon.
Very cool. You're full of good news today, Manny.
It's just so cool, right?
It really is. So your other good news is that EdPuzzle wants to share some swag with the listeners, right?
Yes. So if you email them at SF for San Francisco, so sf@edpuzzle.com, and you mention educational duct tape, they will send you some swag for your teachers at your school.
Nice. That is so cool.
They did not give me a deadline. I told them, do you want to make it just for months? He says, nope, we're going to leave it open.
Forever.
So if you're listening to my crazy self in a year or two, so they said, you tell them.
Somebody out there, it's the year 2025, and they're listening to you right now talking about EdPuzzle, and they're going to email EdPuzzle and be like, hey, I heard Manny talk about this on Educational Duct Tape. And they'll be like, what's Educational Duct Tape? Or no, they'll be like, Manny, he's super famous now. He's
no way.
Oh yeah, that is so awesome. So free swag, not just for them, but for like teachers they work with too.
Yes, exactly. So whenever I get my like swap packs, because I have so many teachers, like I get like a whole bunch of stickers. So whenever I go and I see them, I give them stickers for the kids and for them. When I'm walking in schools and I see them using EdPuzzle, I leave some stickers. I send pens. Whenever I teach a class, to the teachers that took my classes, I'll send them some stickers and pens and whatever I have that they sent me, then that I send them stuff.
Nice.
Because I love EdPuzzle. Is so cool.
It's a great tool.
I do the same thing with footprints. Don't get all jiggity if they're listening. Yeah. Same thing. I get stickers. I send that to them. Okay.
They are all great tools, and you know what? That's what like we're in a great place with educational technology right now, where there are just this network of really fantastic tools out there for teachers, and they could use them all, or they could use certain ones of them, or like they could use one and the teacher next to them is using a different one, and it all they could fit what best meets their needs. But there's just so much awesomeness available out there right now.
Yeah, it could be overwhelming. Like I think you said it in a podcast or in a previous episode, like if you don't find the necessity to learn it, then don't. Right. And I want to get into sketchnoting. I don't need it right now.
Right, and it's fantastic for the people that do, but you don't have to, you know.
I want to. It's just like I don't need it because I don't find a use for it. But I want to get into it, but don't feel like you have to know everything. So stick to one app, master that app, get your students accustomed to that and yourself, and then add something else, and then something else, and then give them a choice.
Right.
Prove to me you understand what I taught you. Do whatever you want, and then upload it into, I don't know, a WeVideo, or put it in Seesaw, or put it in some kind of platform to show me that you understand the concept. And when you give them options to students, oh my gosh, they get so competitive.
Yeah.
That the content that they do is amazing.
Yep. Well, Manny, you have shared so much awesomeness that I think everybody's like, people have like driven off the road during celebrations as you've been sharing things. Like they've like forgotten to take care of their kids while they're at home listening because they've had so much fun listening to this excitement. A couple people have fallen off the treadmill while listening because they were like hooting and hollering about some of the giveaways. Like I think for the safety of the audience, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah. My husband is like, honey, you're yelling. I was like, sorry.
Don't worry, because the listeners are yelling too, because you brought the knowledge and you brought the excitement and you brought the giveaways too, which is amazing, and everybody's going to be loving it. So for the listeners out there, I'm going to say it one more time. Manny on all of the major social media platforms is Manny Disco Tech, and now you know why he's Manny Disco Tech, because of the dance moves in all his videos, right? Yes. It is the disco party in all the videos, and you can find his information at bit.ly/Manny Curiel. Manny, thank you so much for being on the show today, man.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. I was like 20 seconds of fame.
Manny, I don't know if you could see the time at the top of the screen where we're recording. It's been
I know it's more than 20 seconds. It's a lot of time.
All right, Manny, thanks.
Oh, thank you so much.
Today's super secret code is Super Manny. If you know Manny, you know that his nickname is Super Manny. So head over to eduducttape.com/certificates and type in Super Manny with or without the space.
Thank you for listening to the Educational Duct Tape Podcast. Please visit eduducttape.com to join the discussion, share possible topics, inquire about being a guest, or contact Jake. And remember, duct is spelled with a T, not a quack quack K.